Hello, everyone. Welcome to another AMA episode for Coinchange. And this week is special. We have our very own head of research, Jerome, talking to us from France. And he has recently attended the two conferences actually simultaneously, right? They were right one after the other. The first one was DeFi Security Summit, which I attended last year's because it was in Stanford in California. And then you attended the ETH CC Paris, which was right after the DeFi Security Summit. So I'm really looking forward to learning about your experiences in these two conferences, the types of people you met, and what are the opportunities that you see in this whole crypto space. Tell us everything about it. So where should we start? Where do you want to start?
Yeah, I mean, first, thanks for having me. I think there's so much to talk about that. I don't know, maybe you can just, begin by the what we should first, start with, which is DeFi Security Summit,
Sure.
maybe. So DeFi Security Summit was, I did not attend it last year, but through your insights and actually what was published on the different YouTube channel, on the lives and so on, there was, and presenters as well were explaining that there was a lot of progress from last year. And that's one of the key things were that was recurring during the conference. That was something that was mentioned on the monitoring panel. So monitoring tools, which did not exist at all in 2022. And so presenters were like, that's great. This year we have a monitoring panel. Maybe next year we'll have another panel that, maybe that will be education tools, because one of the other aspect that was talked about was the lack of education, right, on the developer side, right, which is important for onboarding new developers, but also training and continuing to nurture the developers that are already in the space. So yeah, there was a lot of progress. So that's one thing.
So the progress, you mean like technical progress in terms of tools for monitoring and stuff? Okay, okay.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So in terms of the sector, we can say that the security of the space is really going into consideration in the different companies. Hence why there's just new companies like monitoring solutions that have been created in the past year just to address the concerns that they had, right? So
Yeah.
there's a growing, there's more and more interest for companies like asset management, like any companies that invest in cryptocurrencies, to actually put emphasis on the security side, right? Which
Okay.
is kind of the same, but also different than Web 2, right? So Web 2 is understood. Sometimes there's companies that kind of overlook it. That was also some topics of different panels, right?
Okay.
But Web3 is a whole security itself, that needs to have its own tools and own solutions.
So in your opinion, what was the most interesting so DeFi Security Summit, obviously the name tells it's all security based. What tools caught your eye in terms of things that are making this whole space secure? Just maybe name one or two that are really fascinating for you.
Yeah, I would say there was a lot of panels and side discussions on formal verification. So the tools for formal verification have been greatly improved and made more accessible for developers. So that's one of the main topic in terms of the tools and tooling that were discussed were really on the formal verification. There was also talks about fuzzing, which is part of the security stack. So those are kind of the two broad topics that were heavily discussed. With They were also saying that formal verification is not the end goal and should not be. It should be something that be used iteratively on the code base, right? So you do fuzzing, you do form verification on your smart contract, right? But you need to iterate on that because you get issues, errors that obviously you apply patches to your code base, and then the whole let's say invariant can change based on that. So then you need to write new invariant in order to have another test for fuzzing and then also for more verification. So the tools are great. That's why it then led to education. And tools are just tools, right? If we're not
If nobody
properly
knows how to use
explaining,
them, then it's
right, right,
waste. Yeah.
exactly. And if we're not properly educating people on how to use it and also making it easier for them to use it, right? So actually get useful information that anyone can, I mean, any developer with sufficient education and expertise can just quickly pick it up, understand what it does, and actually do some meaningful work with it, right?
Right.
So that's kind of the subtopic that was accompanying the tools panel.
Got it. Got it. Last year when I attended, there was a lot of talk about the different types of hacks. So Oracle attacks, bridge hacks. There was a huge panel on bridge hacks as well, and which led to our research report on interoperability research report that we published. Was there any talks on some new types of hacks or new types of oracles or anything like that?
There was no, I mean, there was obviously panels and presentation on hacks, but it was mainly general. I would say new types of hacks that have not been occurring the past years that have been occurring since 2023 are read-only reentrancy attack, and this is something that like last week, one protocol again got exploited using this this vector. And it's kind of different than the reentrancy because it's leveraging the interconnectedness between protocols between themselves, right? So that it's only impacting a certain few protocols, but from what was shared by the presenters and panelists, there's a lot of risk since it's something that is kind of new in some way. So there's a lot of protocols that might have this vulnerability. So they were really putting the emphasis that this was really growing and should not, right? Because reentrancy is very easy to just take care of it and just write, not really proper code, but just have, the right code in place and right, guards in place in order to prevent it. And that was something that have been worked on greatly from past year. One of the panelists was sharing that reentrancy and read-only reentrancy attacks are really occurring on the 10 hacks since the beginning of this year compared to Oracle attacks, which are in 100 plus. So, and they were also saying that Oracle attacks should not be this huge of a concern and this huge source of losses of funds, right?
Okay.
Because implementing proper oracles like chain links or let's say a V2 TWAP, right, using median price, that's kind of basic to implement. So they were really stressing that we should really take care of the oracle attacks because there's too much compared to the ease of just making sure that you're not exposed as a protocol.
Okay, got it. So that's about DeFi Security Summit. So before we move on to ETH CC, is there anything else you want to talk about DeFi Security Summit, or we kind of covered pretty much?
I think that's really the bulk of it. We made, I mean, I had the opportunity to talk with a lot of different people, kind of create a business relationship. There's also new auditor models that have been created. One of them is Sherlock, right, which is kind of a mix between insurance and auditor,
Right.
and also Code for Arena, which is right, because Sherlock has a pool of auditors, and it's just open for everyone to just look into the code base and then submit the vulnerabilities in exchange for a bounty. So it's very similar to Code for Arena, but then they're also akin to a traditional auditor because they have a reserve auditor, which are like the top 1, 2, and 3 auditors, which are experts, and they basically achieve a mix of expertise and also broad exposure of the code base. And then obviously they add the insurance aspect to it. There was also Spearbit, which is just a marketplace for auditor, right? And they're really well paid as per the founder. And the founder was explaining that it was really achieving the best of both worlds because auditors just work when they need to, and they just don't overwork, right? They don't burn out because they're working like 24 hours, 7 days a week, right? And they even recommend their auditor from the marketplace to only work like 2 weeks during a month, and they're making great money. So, and it's proving to be very successful because they're doing a lot of very good audits. So that was very interesting.
So
Another
is it like a hiring platform where
no, it's a marketplace. It's kind of a marketplace. So the team will get the request for an audit, and then they will. It's kind of, you can have a
do they have
hiring
ratings and everything
marketplace.
on that platform?
Sorry.
Like, okay, these guys audited, this team has audited so many codes and they have a rating of 5-star, anything like that?
I'm not sure. We will need to look into a bit more detail
Okay.
about how it works in
But it's
very.
like if you want to get your code base audited, you can go to SecureBit and look for teams and their expertise, and then you can choose which one you want to.
It's not really teams, right? It's obviously it will form as a team, from what I understood, but it's more like uh, um, able to aggregate the most talented pool of people and auditors,
Okay.
right? And then form them as a team to audit a specific protocol.
Okay.
And then they just, disband when the work is done, right? And then if there is another auditor that comes in and that is relevant, it can be integrated into the team in order to audit a new
Got it.
protocol. Right?
Okay.
At least that's what I understood from the presentation.
Okay.
Yeah, last point I wanted to bring up is AI. And AI in security is making very, very big differences.
Okay.
So there's a lot of solutions, especially on the monitoring side, that are now using AI in order to basically train the model on past exploits or just events happening on chain in order to train it and then to recognize what is like a risky transaction or what is considered to be a soon to be exploited contract, or also detect 0-day exploits, which is what most monitoring solutions are doing. They're looking into the on-chain events, and the AI is flagging the transactions that hackers do before doing the exploit, because obviously hackers needs to deploy the contract that will exploit the protocol beforehand, right? It most of the time it does not happen atomically, which means in one transaction. So the deployment of the contract, which will exploit the protocol is being done beforehand. And sometimes it's like multiple hours before that, maybe days before it, or just minutes, right? And they were sharing that track record are very good and false positives are very low. And they're able to, on average, one of the presenter was sharing that on average, most of the monitoring solutions are able to detect the hack at least 15 minutes before the hack happened, which is like just game changer
Right.
for any protocol institution just wanting to deploy, right? You just withdraw the fund before it happens, right? Before the hack happens, and you just safeguarded a lot of trouble and a lot of losses.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you could even pause it if you can't withdraw or you can't alert everyone, the core team can pause the contract so no interaction can be made until the patch is fixed. So that's great. So yeah, I hope, did they announce where the next year is going to be, or maybe they're just going to follow ETH CC?
No, they're still looking into different places, and they are saying that there's a lot of reach outs because there's a lot of industry leaders attending, and the format of it makes it so because it's not selling, it's not a selling format. It's really an insight format, meaning that the panelists or the presenter present something and with the aim of education, right? They should provide a presentation that provides something new or innovative or something that is not well known in the community so that everyone, comes out of the summit more educated, and better prepared to, for the next year. So yeah, it's proving to be very successful. Next place, will need to be decided, I think.
I hope we can.
But for sure, I think we will need to attend. We will need to attend for sure.
Yeah, let's keep the streak 100%. So far, we have 100% attendance. So moving on to ETH CC then. So ETH CC is obviously the big giant conference. What was your experience like over there? What are the kinds of technology progresses happening in broader ecosystem?
Right. So, I mean, was very pleasantly surprised because although ETH is for developers primarily, there was a lot of business development, VCs, but which knew in the technical side of the product, which was very, very pleasant to exchange with such people. So a lot of talk about infrastructure. So there was different events on infrastructure, and the most impactful infrastructure that was being discussed was on one side the zero knowledge EVMs that are being developed, across the board, like zkVM, Polygon 2.0, and zkVM as well. And on the other side was
ZK
account
Sync, you mean
abstraction.
like ZK Sync,
Yeah, ZK Sync,
ZK Scroll, and then Polygon. Yeah, yeah.
correct. And on the other side was the account abstraction, so ERC 4337, which has been enacted, I think was in February, but it's gaining kind of marketing and popularity those days. Not sure why, and some of the panelists were asking the same question, but it's good either way because more exposure, more people talking about it and discussing it is pushing for adoption, right? So if more people understands it, sorry, it's easier to have people adopt it, right, and actually use it. So yeah, going a bit more into account abstraction. So account abstraction essentially is making it very easy for any people to just create a wallet without having to back up the seed phrase. You have social recovery with it, which is basically a way to make sure you're able to retrieve the keys to your wallet without having to actually remember the seed phrase, so the 12 words that all of us are like aware of and basically kind of handle as we go with it, right? So this is big because it's really making easier for anyone to just create a wallet from scratch, right? It also enables, and that's not something that is very new, but it comes packaged in with the ability to transfer ERC20 or Ethereum, let's say, and pay with ERC20s, right? You don't really need gas anymore, right? You just pay with the currency that you're transferring, which is just like great, right? You don't
Oh
need to
my
have
God.
gas on all
Yes.
chains now, right?
That is the most like terrible experience that I was having so far, is to have the native gas token on every time I'm interacting with the blockchain. Yes.
Right. And then you end up with the issue
The
of
thing is, you don't
having dust.
understand, people won't understand how great of this feature is unless they have gone through the pain of dealing with the previous version. I totally
That is
understand what a
correct.
big deal this is. Yeah.
That is correct. And then you end up with issues with like dust in many different, you know, wallets across chains, right?
Yeah.
And what do you do with all those funds, especially, for example, as an asset management company? What do you do with all those like gas on all those chains, right? It's just
Leftover. Yeah.
money that is not working, right? So that's something that is good for
That's great.
adoption,
Yeah.
but it still has kind of a long way to go because um, there's a long way to go because in order to integrate this new ERC into different protocols and having all the stakeholders, you know, in line and on consensus into which who is paying for the user, because that's something that this ERC is pushing for, is that there's a new stakeholder that is called the paymaster, and the paymaster can be of different type, but he's the main application that we have for it right now is essentially the paymaster is paying on behalf of the user for the transaction fees, right?
Yeah.
So in this case, who is the one paying for, right? Obviously, the paymaster is not giving a free service, right? So is it the dApp that is paying for the customer's fee, or is it the paymaster, and then the paymaster has like a back contract with the dApp, right? So there's all those things that still are still being discussed right now. But yeah, it's making good progress, and yeah, hopefully,
It's a step forward in
for
the
the
right direction. Yeah.
right,
Towards the broader adoption.
right.
Okay, that's great. So account abstraction, ZK EVMs. What other topics did you think were worth the attention?
Right. I mean, the most valuable one, I think, for the industry and also for the impact that it can have is impact finance and DeFi, which creates regenerative finance.
Okay, yeah.
Right. So regenerative finance, we can think of it as a subsector of the real world assets sector that is already existing, that there's a lot of companies already kind of building in this sector already. But essentially, impact finance, for those that are not aware of in traditional finance, is the way that companies fund other companies or projects to have positive impact on local communities. So positive impact is both on the economic side, but also on the social side, right? So
Yep.
when you're making an impactful investment in this sector, it needs to make the lives of people easier, or make them go out of poverty, or not starve, right? And also making their economic lives better. That's the same goal. Is the same goal is for regenerative finance, but it's made easier because it's happening directly on chain. and you don't have, I mean, you have less kind of paperwork, quote unquote. But what is the key point here is the fact that blockchain, since it's really global, right? You're able to inject global capital into ultra local communities, right? So you're able to have really precise investment with people that really need it, with people that are actually able to implement it on the ground, right? And make those people able to reach out, global funding, which is just completely new, right? And something that is not available in current traditional finance and impact finance because of regulation between countries, investment banks not able to enter local countries, let's say in Africa, just in the center of Africa. How are they going to make sure their board is okay to make an investment into a tiny community in Central Africa, right? So there's this huge dichotomy between the two in traditional finance, which is solved with regenerative finance, which, in my opinion, is really the best use case. I mean, the most impactful one that DeFi could have on a global population.
Right. We talk about what is the use case of DeFi, right? Most people think it's speculation and just trading in and out of different coins. What's the purpose of that? Well, we're actually having real use cases over here with regenerative finance. And so we can mention probably the report that we just published recently, right?
Sure.
So we have the Coinchange. The two of us worked with a bunch of other co-authors, specifically from the regenerative finance community, like Toucan, and then we had RWA guys like Goldfinch, Charlie. So the whole space helped us put this research report together on the progress in the regenerative finance community using blockchain technology, and it's very promising because it has real world use case, real impact on communities, like you said, agricultural communities, farmers, climate change initiatives, solar initiatives, and so on, financing in developing countries as well. And so I can link the report in the description of this video, and I encourage people to check it out. Polygon has also been a co-author of this research report, so they are supporting the infrastructure for ReFi applications. So definitely a huge space that is progressing, that is evolving within the DeFi space. That's great.
Right. And what you're saying, it's really, I really encourage people to read the report because it's really painting a very bright future for our industry, and also will, I think, dispel a lot of misunderstanding about what the actual impact of DeFi can be. And it's specifically targeted for institutions because institutions here can have the most impactful way of interacting with, on the one side, the funds and the people, right?
Right.
So
It's also satisfies their ESG mandates for a lot of funds. They already have the ESG requirements, and investing through DeFi gives them the additional benefit of transparency and scalability. So that's definitely the lowest hanging fruit for institutional DeFi moving forward. Great. So
right.
I think we talked about broad topics, different topics that happen at ETH CC. Anything else that you came across that you want to share?
Yeah, there's a couple that I think are interesting. They're along the infrastructure again, because that was kind of the broad topic for the conference. So Coinbase actually announced that they have based their network, their L2 network,
Yeah.
which is on mainnet, and they're opening it for builders in just next month. So any developer, just if they're interested, look into Base. There was also Celo announcing that they're launching their own layer 2. and they're leveraging also the OP infrastructure. OP is
Okay.
optimism
Optimism.
infrastructure. Same thing
Celo
for
is the
Base.
layer 1 right now, and they're
Correct.
transitioning to becoming a layer 2 on Ethereum using Optimism. Okay,
Correct. Yes, they want to transition to a layer 2.
nice.
And that's the same for Base. So Base is actually a L2 built using the Optimism
Optimism
technology
stack.
and
And Celo,
architecture.
by the way, is a regenerative finance blockchain, right? It supports,
Correct.
it's the core infrastructure for all the regenerative apps. Okay,
Correct.
interesting. Okay, what else?
They're using, I mean, Celo will use Eigenlayer data availability,
Okay,
which will make the data availability for the layer 2 decentralized. Similarly, Mantle, which is another layer 2, will also use Eigenlayer. So that's great because we actually will have real use case for restaking. ZKVM with Linea by consensus that launched its mainnet.
yeah,
We need to mention Polygon 2.0 and ZKVM. And I mean, they're leveraging the ZK stack, and they were sharing during the presentation that a lot of developers and projects actually just changed their infrastructure in order to build onto Polygon, because it was so well maintained, so well organized, and also the promising future of Polygon, the rebranding of Thematic to Polygon to Pol, and so on, that they were sharing that a lot of developers and projects were switching. And lastly, we had Uniswap that announced its new protocol called Uniswap X, which is
right.
like basically an aggregator of automated market makers. And it's also providing MEV protection. So it's kind of similar to CoSwap in the sense that it's also using Dutch auction.
Right.
So yeah, that's great to see that Uniswap is pushing a cross-chain protocol here. So yeah, I think that's most of the kind of
That's a
big
lot of updates.
announcements.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Exciting. Very exciting. After these conferences, after you attend one of these conferences, you just feel like hyper motivated to continue working in this industry, because you're like, wow, there's so much exciting stuff happening. I want to learn, keep learning, and keep contributing to this growing ecosystem. And you feel great to be a part of such a community of intelligent, knowledgeable, hardworking, and passionate group of individuals that year after year are shipping newer things and trying to make this space safer and fostering broader adoption. That's what
Right. I
I love
mean,
about this industry.
pushing relentlessly, right? Like you say, it's like
There's so
pushing,
much hate
whether
from
it's
the
like
outside.
bull
There's so
market.
much naysayers, so much hate, so much
Exactly.
resistance. And then you go to one of these conferences and you're like, wow, these people continue building,
Bull
continue
market,
shipping.
bear market, relentlessly. You're
Doesn't
pushing,
matter.
building.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's a very good closing thoughts. Yeah. And I would say, that's also, I think, important for us as we are attending them. We need to share it to the audience, right? Whether it's our own community or just the broader community, right?
Yeah.
Because when you're building on and just laser focused on your product, your issues, your problem, obviously you're not like tunnel vision. You're still open to innovation that makes your product better. But across the board, there's innovation that not only impact your business, but the infrastructure and the ecosystem in general, right? So yeah, sharing those insights and sharing this information to the broader community, I think, is also very valuable, and yeah, definitely we should do it.
Awesome. And I would close that out by saying that you have shared in our other private calls what we could do for Coinchange that you've seen at this conference. And so we have a lot of interesting things happening within Coinchange that we can't share at the moment, but there's a lot to come over the next few months and maybe the next year that we will be launching and looking into tapping into different opportunities to improve the yield, to improve the security, and to make this space safer. So
Correct.
I would encourage people to keep an eye out for our future AMAs where we would announce some of the new things that we're launching, and stay subscribed. And thanks for joining us.
Thanks.